Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Season 5 premiere of Your Bish Therapist podcast. And today, this episode is going to be a banger, honey, because for those of you who watched Real Housewives of Orange County premiere episode, there has been a lot of drama with bloggers and things like that. And today on the podcast, we have one of the people in question, our friend, you know her as the Bravo Babe. Please welcome Christina to the show. Hi, Christina.
Hello. Hi, listeners. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. A note to listeners, people who listen to the show for a long time, you know me, and you know that I'm not a gossip account. I'm not a clickbait account. Although according to Katie, all bloggers love clickbait, right, Christina?
Gotta make the money.
Gotta make that money, honey. So anyway, so I just want people to listen to this with an open mind, because whether you're accustomed to listening to me or you're new because you just want to listen to this interview, I have to be clear that I am friends with Christina. She is one of the few content creators that I trust, among very few, to be honest. She has integrity, and I just want people to be clear listening to this is that we are going to be telling a true story, her side of the story, that she did not get to put out there because, you know, a celebrity put their side out and then tried to muzzle you. So we are here to talk about and mention it all, as Bethany would say.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, of course. So let's start out with Christina sharing how this all got started last year with Tamra. How did this all start?
It's crazy how the situation did start between Tamra and I. Beginning of November, I was sent an article from a website saying that Tamra Judge was associated with a popular blog site. It had her listed as, specifically it said captain. There was other people, but Tamra Judge was somebody who was known.
And by the way, this was for anyone to see, correct?
Yes,
it was public information. You didn't dig anything up. You didn't hire a PI.
No.
You just stumbled upon something. Okay.
Yes. And when people were asking about it, I sent them the link directly. I didn't send the screenshot. So, plenty of people saw, opened, oh, wow, Tamra Judge is allegedly associated with this. I made a post about it. Tamra saw said post, and while in her car, made an Instagram story saying that I was harassing her. And the word that she used was, I think I contacted my attorneys, so you'll be hearing more from me.
And just explain for a moment to people listening to this, what happens to your body when someone with a huge shift of power dynamic over you says something like that to a person who lives in the Midwest who's like a regular gal? What happens to you?
My body went numb. When I tell you, and I was sent it was 4 minutes after it was posted. I remember saying, oh my gosh, this was just posted. This just happened. This is real time. I remember being in my garage and I just felt my body go numb. And I was like, I need to tell somebody. I need to talk to somebody. What do? I believe I called my husband. He was at work, and your body just goes numb. Somebody of that status, somebody with that many followers. I mean, I just went numb.
Well, of course, because the one thing I want to point out, as we go along in this story is that you have a big audience, but no one has a bigger audience than a Real Housewife of Orange County. So there's this power dynamic that I need people to understand. So, and, to boot, you didn't do anything wrong. You found public information, and then this is what happens. So,
right. I mean, it says Yes, and it does. I do want to clarify that the public information I was given did turn out to be false. It was out there that she was behind these, alleged accounts. I don't believe that to be true any longer. I was since shown why that isn't true.
Okay.
So that aside, that situation, I wiped my hands clean from. Tamara never
Right.
sent me anything legal.
Mhm.
And we have not been in contact at all since that,
Mhm.
situation. Yeah. So that's a little bit of the background with the Tamara of it all and how it
Okay.
relates to Katie would follow.
So this is how the whole Katie situation comes to be. And that's why this is an important part of the story to tell. And for those people who did watch OC, everything you just said, Tamara said herself on the show, right? And another really important reason for this interview is that, it airs and they're blurring you out, but they're talking about you as a blogger. And again, they have this platform, and then you have no ability to speak your side of the truth. So, how from that did the Katie situation come up?
So Katie and I had a rapport. We had spoken during the prior season. And as Tamara posted her Instagram story, I was messaging with Katie
Mhm.
and I said to her, "Oh my goodness, how Tamara is threatening me with attorneys. I'm scared. I don't believe I did anything wrong.
Mhm.
What's going on here?" And then Katie called me.
Okay. You had posted some receipts because you have them, right? You have screenshots, receipts,
I have,
timeline,
yeah,
right?
all of it.
The whole thing. So I need people to understand that, this is real. What you're saying, this is the truth. This is accurate. It's up to you how much of those discussions you want to put out there. But so your point is that you and Katie had been talking since the season before, just like nicely developed a rapport. Because the
Mhm.
one thing that to me was really clear from the premiere of Real Housewives of Orange County is that there's one deleted scene where Katie is in a car with Jen Padranti, and she says, Jen was like, "You are getting too involved with bloggers," which were not bloggers, but whatever. That's what they're saying in the episode. And Katie jokes, "I was actually invited to someone, like a content creator's birthday party," and she was laughing about it. Right. So what I find is so fascinating, right, is that we have this scene where she's admitting that she's deep in with a ton of content creators. But you're the one she didn't talk to,
Right.
right? Like, isn't that kind of telling on herself a little bit, to be honest? But hey, what do I know?
Mm.
So, with your conversations with Katie, please share whatever feels comfortable to you.
I mean, we spoke on the phone. Her husband was next to her as one of the first things she said to me is, "Oh my goodness, Matt is next to me." She told me the word evil was used, and that stuck out to me because I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, Tamara's evil. This is a horrible thing happening. She really, though, made me feel comfortable in the moment and saying that nothing's going to come your way. You didn't do anything wrong. Tamara does these things. So she was a comforting person in that short phone call and then in messages following as well.
Right. Right. Okay. So, when did this start to go south? Because it sounds like you and she had kind of a very cordial relationship for an extended period of time.
During the season, I would send her, she was getting hate and I liked her. I would send her positive messages that she received on Twitter. She didn't have a Twitter. We were going back and forth. I would send her screenshots of like positive messages. When she was having a hard episode, she would speak to me about it. We had the Tamara situation, the phone call. We talked a little bit after the phone call. Then we just really not like radio silent, but I mean, it's not like I talk to this woman every day. I don't DM housewives every day. So
Right.
it was just kind of left at it is what it is. There was an article when filming began about Gretchen joining the cast, and I sent it to her and I was like, so excited. I think you guys will get along great. And she said, thank you with some hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But that was our last interaction.
Mhm.
So we didn't leave anything on a negative note by any means.
Right.
So it wasn't until I saw the episode, I was so taken aback at the lie. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Right. And that's something that you and I had talked about privately is just the level of betrayal of, again, you're a regular person. You have no opportunity to share your piece of it. And as far as you know, you are friendly, you're cordial, you're supportive of one another, not best friends, but just at least, cordial acquaintances and supports. I mean, she
Right.
supported you and you supported her. Like, I think I need people to understand that level of betrayal when you're not doing anything wrong or different.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. Funny thing about being fast, you end up waiting a lot. First to show up, first in line, then just waiting. Me, I rev up Chumba Casino. With over 200 social casino games, no slow lanes here. Why sit around when you can spin? I'm already racing. Your turn. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Right.
Tell us about that process of like when they contacted you about submitting for your, information and your voice to be, what was that process like for you? And can you share with everyone what you still thought at that point?
So I was reached out a few months ago by 32 Flavors Production Clearance Department, and they were wanting to use, I believe at first it was just one of my posts, and it was the initial post with Tamra Judge where I had said what I said, and then I'm assuming they're going to show her response, threatening legal action. So I said, okay, use my post. Apparently, this is going to be a part of Tamra's, storyline is that she threatened to sue a blogger. So I sign off on it. They reach out again and they want my voice that we hear in the episode on the podcast called The Vault. And I'm wondering now, in what context is this going to be used? Why are they using it? Obviously, I'm not privy to the storyline and production, what they're doing with things. But what I was told is that it was going to be used at a lunch with Tamra, where Tamra shows Katie, and they're showing a pattern of Katie's behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Super confused by that, but nothing I said on that Vault podcast I take back,
Right.
so I sign off on it.
And on the podcast, the Vault podcast, you were very complimentary of Katie, very supportive. I've listened to excerpts of it and, you were a cheerleader for her essentially. And so, I also want people to understand that what happened with this process is that 31 Flavors reaches out to you, but they're not super clear about it. And they're certainly not giving you the full context of how your voice and how your information is going to be used. So, you're subject to the manipulation of reality editing and storylines and all of that stuff. And again, then there's nothing you can do about it because you had messaged Alex Baskin about, certain, should I not have said that?
No, that's fine. I DM'd him the screenshots and I said, does somebody want these screenshots after I had seen the episode?
And did he get back to you?
No.
Of course not. So I
No.
just want to be clear about the exploitative nature sometimes of how content creators can be used and just kind of like wrung out to dry and then just discarded, which probably makes you feel about 2 inches big. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's almost like nobody cared enough to even want to see the truth because
Right.
Katie is at this level on this TV show. What she says, we can just roll with it because nobody will listen to the blogger with a small following. It's a non-factor to them. And I completely understand that. It doesn't make me feel any better, but I understand it.
Well, I think it's pretty gracious that you even understand it because, if this were me, I mean, I just kept texting you. I'm like, this isn't even me and I'm sweating. Like the psychological impacts, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because there have been so much that's come from this. And I definitely want to talk about that because the people can have opinions, but like imagine if this were you, right? Like if this was
Right.
you trying to like make a living or talk about things. So let's go back to Katie in terms of, so when did you find out what was actually going on? Was it when you watched the premiere episode?
So I saw not my scenes, I should say, but the scenes that I was mentioned in
Mm-hmm.
and completely taken aback. I thought that the storyline would be more so, I had an issue with Tamra and they're going to show that. And then it turned into something else once I saw the clips from the first episode.
Essentially, what Katie said, to be clear with people, is that she didn't even know your name,
Yeah,
which is
two
false.
two very important things. That she did not know my name was the first, yes.
Mm-hmm. And what was the second thing?
That she never called me.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things are the the two biggest lies because I have the screenshots showing otherwise.
Okay, but also I think it's such a game in semantics for her because you did talk, and I mean, if you have proof of that and things like that. But I think it's such a game of semantics too, because let's say you never had a conversation over the phone, which you did. You had a pre-existing relationship for like a year. You know what I'm saying? Of having these conversations about Tamra and, or just kind of like consoling each other about, that empathizing, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And so I think it's just a really convenient lie to say, well, I never called her. Well, forget the call. You've had a relationship with this person for over a year. And it sounds like you're admitting that you have these relationships with content creators, just like tons of them.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So I think it's so funny and so interesting to me that like for some reason this is different. Why do you think it's different? Christina, what's your take on all this since you're the one that this is happening to?
I've thought about this a lot, and I truly was wondering if it was just as simple as in that moment when Katie was confronted, she knew she was in the wrong and she was scared of Tamra. And
Yeah.
then when the audio clip was played in front of her, she easily, in that moment, if she knew she was telling the truth, could have said, Tamra, oh my, look at this. Here it is. But she said, I'm going to go home and look, because in the back of her mind, she knew, oh shit, that whole situation happened. What do I do?
Right.
She removed me as a follower. I do know that. And I realized that when I went back to go see our messages, she removed me as a follower. And I'm wondering if she did that in hopes that it would like delete messages, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she outright wanted to block me, because in her mind, it might have been a bigger deal.
Right. That
But
would look suspicious.
right. But the only reason I can think of is that in that moment, she was like, oh shit, I messed up. And her defense mechanism in almost every situation seems to be just to lie.
In your experience.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because I just want to be clear. We're not overgeneralizing. In your experience, that has been the scenario because, and from my perspective, I think that, you and I had talked about there was another blog or podcast brought up in this show, which is all about TRH, right? And so what I think is happening, my perspective, is that a lot of Bravo fans will do anything to be in close proximity to a Bravo lab or a celebrity, someone that they deem a celebrity. And so when Teresa Giudice and Jen Aiden got in trouble, people found out that they were paying bloggers and doing some really underhanded things. And that's how they had soldiers, right? Because they essentially were incentivizing them, shall we say, in whatever way, shape, or form. And so what I want people to understand listening to this, that it's very common for us to get DMs from Bravo Labs, myself included.
Right.
But some of these people, I feel like in Bravo, there's interesting parasocial relationships where Katie was a new housewife. And I think because she was a new housewife, she had her feet in two worlds. She had her foot in the world of the content creators, the bloggers, the people online, because that's how she felt validated and supported. Because she didn't feel validated and supported by the women. This is my best guess. And so she finds someone who she can commiserate with and empathize with. And then she realized when she gets together with the group, she can't have her feet in both worlds. It's either she chooses you guys or she chooses them. And if this is her job and she's trying to be a housewife, well, she's just going to throw you under the bus, which is exactly what she did, because she doesn't want to be exiled from this group.
Absolutely. And she already had the situation with Emily's Nanny, the podcast. She admitted to that portion of it. I think she felt like she would have been in too deep if she went in and said, yeah, I also talked to the Bravo babe.
And but here's the thing. She couldn't lie about the TRH stuff because her daughter went on the podcast.
That's true. Yes, you're very right.
Yeah. So I think, I wanted to point that out because you are still such a good person that you're still giving her some grace. And as your friend and someone who feels protective of you, I am not. So I just want to point that out. That says a lot about your character, is that you're still trying to give her grace. She couldn't lie about it because her daughter went on the podcast, which again is so odd for her to, again, when the daughter last year was involved in a storyline for being too involved.
And now we're adding this on.
Right. So that's why Katie couldn't lie about that. And I think you're right. I think that it was like, oh, well, these people already think I lie so much. So I just have to double, triple, quadruple down on this and hope that people who love me are going to troll Christina. And that's exactly what has happened.
That's exactly what's happened. And going back really quick to where, we talk about Bravo Labs that are in our DMs or ones that we talk to, how it's the name of the game. I personally want to make it so clear that I would have never released the message thread that I did with Katie had she not lied. I've never been the kind of person to out or share those intimate stories or personal comments that I've had with Bravo Labs. And I just want to make that so clear. That's not my page. That's not what I do. I had to. I'm a person in my community. I am a person with a name and a face and a life. And when I'm being lied on to millions of people, I have to do what I can to defend myself. So to the average watcher, it might not seem like a big deal. People talk to bloggers all the time. Of course, Katie's going to lie about it. Well, Katie lied about it on me. And if it was you, Joe on the side of the street, you would want to defend yourself as hard as you could too. Because at the end of the day, I built this page, organically, and I'm very proud of it. But I'm also a real person with a name attached to it. And I think that is getting lost in translation with a lot of the people who are leaving comments.
It for sure is, because what people can't do, which is one of the things what I love to talk about is emotional intelligence. And what sometimes people can't do is put themselves in that situation. Imagine, being like a regular person in your community who just happens to do this, right? And like I said, you're one of the few people who does this that actually has good character, has integrity. And I know for a fact, and I'm not going to say, but I know for a fact, there's a lot of information that you have that you keep in a vault and share with nobody.
Because that's who I am and that's how it should be. Absolutely.
Right, because you're not a troll. This is what for me is most frustrating, is that Katie's making you out to be something that you are really not. Right? There are some content creators that are trolls. We know them, right? Let's be honest.
Right. They're
Names
there.
won't
We
be
know.
said. They're
Right.
there. We know. You aren't one of them. And so when someone is going to lie about your character and integrity, of course, you're going to share some of those screenshots, which, by the way, you didn't even share a bunch of them.
No.
You shared a couple to prove your point. And I just want to be clear to everyone listening to this. There's much more that you have that you could have released that you didn't.
Absolutely. And that goes back to, just being true to who I am and not letting just, this page or this platform, deter me away from that.
Right. Right. Because it is very jarring to your nervous system. As you said, your body goes numb. It's like a panic. These people, again, there's this power and money differential that I just cannot state enough. But I appreciate you clearing that up about, you never would have released these things. Here's the thing. It takes two in terms of like, people online are saying, well, you guys reach out to them. And it's like, well, a lot of times we don't. A lot of times they reach out to us. Whatever people
Goes
think
both ways. They could like a
That's
post and
right.
they could see a post and say, wow, I want to engage with this person. Or it could be just something as, hey, you're a newbie and I'm supporting you. Just know that my DMs are open as a content creator. That's what
Right.
we do.
Right. Right. So tell me, since all of this has been happening with the Katie stuff, there's been some really serious things going on. And I wanted you to be able to talk about that because I think this is a really important part of the story.
It is. So platform-wise, I run my Instagram account, my TikTok account, my X account, my Threads account, very minimal following on YouTube, but those are like the core 4 accounts that I post on. X being the very first one that I ever had, always feeling very safe on it, having my people on it. And since this situation has happened, I have now completely restricted my account. I have blocked and reported more people than I even feel comfortable sharing. And it's not just comments saying, go work out, don't eat a cheeseburger, things like that. A lot of the body shaming comments, which, go
It's
after
so
yourself.
disgusting.
Right? Like, go eat your
So,
mom's lasagna in the basement from your laptop, like, shut the hell up kind of thing, people.
my God.
But for me, I started getting, I don't know what words I can or can't say. I
You
was
can see
getting,
it.
was getting death threats, death wishes, and they were graphic. They were not something you want to open your phone to. And what made it worse for me was the most vile comment that was made had 7 likes. And that for me, I was like, you're telling me that 7 people agree with this? It's so personal. It's
Sure.
personal and it's hard. So that's been a very toxic platform. I'm distancing myself from that. But that sucks because that's something I built for the last 6 years and I have great relationships on prior to this. Katie lied. She has fans, she has followers. And whether it's people choosing to defend Katie because they like her, or it's people just choosing to dislike me and using that, it's been gross. It's been sad. It's been emotional. And it's almost like I don't want to play into like a victim role because that's not who I am. But at the end of the day, I'm a person and I don't deserve this shit.
No, and I'm going to take a step and say you are being victimized because someone is lying about you on a platform, and there are people that are so desperate to have any sort of proximity to a celebrity, especially with Bravo Labs, right? We know the accounts, the people who they just want to stan Katie because people feel so excited and enchanted about having some proximity to a celebrity that they're happy to throw you under the bus, to back it over you and threaten you and all of these other things. What? So Katie Janella likes your comment? Or so Katie Janella sends you a message? Right?
Right.
What's the motivation here? And
Right.
I just want to, the other thing I want to say to people listening to this is that threatening somebody, and is it okay if I share the very important piece of the threats that you got?
Oh, absolutely.
So people were encouraging suicide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I need people to understand the level of hate and aggression is so disgusting. And for the people who are making those comments and liking those comments, I'm going to be very honest, you should seek help immediately. Because to be so angry, to be such a troll that you go on the internet and you're going to make body shaming comments, which, by the way, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're just the way you're meant to be. They can fuck off. Number one. Number two, ego that these people have, that they think that they have the right to threaten your life. It's not funny, but I laugh because it's fucking comical. And by the way, these are the same people who are saying Jax needs to be fired. Fuck you.
Which is the comparisons. Yes.
Fuck you. Right? So you're going to say, I'm not normally a huge cursor, but I'm fired up. People are going to say, oh, Jax, this abusive behavior, this abusive thing, this. But then they're going to go on and they're going to say the most hurtful things because people know what will hurt us, right? The comments about how we look, the comments about, with me, people say, oh, well, aren't you supposed to be a therapist? And where's your ethics and all this other stuff? And it's like, go pack that shit and go home. Like, we've heard it all before. It's just absolutely unhinged behavior. It's not acceptable. And if anyone's listening to this and has done that, I suggest you look at yourself and figure out why you're doing that, because it's absolutely unhinged. Absolutely.
It's so unhinged. And it's almost hard to say out loud that somebody said those things to me, because I've never, it's almost weird to say out loud that somebody had those thoughts about somebody they've never met, somebody they don't know. Somebody who spoke the fucking truth. And it's hard to say out loud, and it was hard to read. And then to make matters worse, I, obviously report one specific account, and then they made a new account and tagged me in it. And it's the first thing on my news feed. And it's just like, that's when it was just, you can't, it's done. It's over though. I'm not going back there, but it's really, it's fucking sad. I'm sorry. It is.
It is sad. And here's the thing you're saying. It's like these places used to be a safe space for you in a way where you had your community, right? You felt, because I was telling you before we started recording this, I never was on X or Twitter because to me, it was so harsh and people were so egregious with me that I was like, well, I'm not enduring this. This is something I can't do. But you had your community, you had a safe space. And now because of someone lying about you on national TV, that safe space, your community, has been taken from you in ways that it's not your fault. It wasn't your doing. And if that's not victimization, I don't know what is.
Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here. And you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
Order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I mean, it kind of plays with me a little bit too. It's been 24 hours since, and I click on my phone and the first thing I want to do is click on X. I'm not doing that anymore. It's a weird thing. I have on the flip side, of things, there is a great community out there of content creators and people who have seen these things that have posted in support and saying, specifically, like, I want to call out Worm with a Mustache and Reality with Allie. Today, they both specifically called out the threats that I was receiving and tagged Katie and said, correct your lies, because look at what this is doing to this girl.
Right.
And I see those things and it helps. It makes me feel, okay,
Sure.
brings me back down. And I think I told you yesterday I was listening to other podcasts that have come out since the episode where I feel validated and people can see through the lies, so shout out to all of those people because hearing people say that they know I'm telling the truth, that's all I fucking want, At the end of the day,
Literally. Yeah.
that's literally all I want. It's not, like I said earlier to the average watcher, so what? Katie told a lie on this girl. This girl is thirsty for attention. I'm not thirsty for this attention. This was brought up
No.
on camera by the cast.
Christina, you're not thirsty. You've been waterboarded. Okay. So people can call that being thirsty, but you're being waterboarded and gaslit. And I think it is disgusting and gross. But I am really grateful that you have some content. I mean, all content creators should support you because here's what I want to say to the content creators who have their noses right up Katie's butt.
Mhm.
If she's doing this to you, what do they think she's going to do to them?
Right.
Right? How can you trust to talk to somebody and to continue to have a relationship of somebody who's going to do this to you?
Right.
So that's one thing I want to say. Another thing is that, you had mentioned Ryan Bailey had said something about, Katie talked about bloggers lying because they want it for clickbait and, blah, blah, blah. And he said something that had really resonated. So I wanted you to share that.
Yeah. So, he had a nice episode. I've talked to him a couple times, a great gentleman. And he said, when Katie sat in her confessional and they said, why would the blogger lie? And she says, well, bloggers lie for a lot of reasons. They want clickbait because that's how they make their money. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't make shit. And the people that have been working at this for years. They have brand deals and relationships that are just goals for most of us. They have connections that we hope to make and that we try to make. And it takes time. And it puts out a weird narrative that bloggers will say or do anything. And she's putting it out there like they'll say or do anything because that's how they make money. And that's just not even close to being true.
And you're right. And it's such a good point because those people who do make a lot of money from this, well, that's not me. I know that's really not you. And that's such an excellent point in terms of also, here's what I think is funny that it just made me think of this when you said that. When I used to be a practicing therapist, because I haven't been able to practice due to my health issues, people would be like, well, you don't care. You're just getting paid for this. And it's just like, LOL. Do you know what the pay is for being a therapist? It's like full LOL. It's so bad. And, that's why there's not enough of us because it's like, imagine if doctors got paid what therapists got paid. Nobody would be a doctor. It's just like, it's so wild. But my point being that people who don't know always love to project that you're making all this money, I'm making all this money, we have all this reach. And it's like, no, do you know who does make a lot of money? Housewives.
And, thinking about this now, when she sat there and said that, she sat there and said it because she knew the audience would buy it because it sounds plausible. Of course, she's going to say that and the audience is going to be like, oh yeah, all these accounts, they post shit and make money for it. Who cares? We're not the Kim Zolciaks who post my daughter's in the ER and pregnant. Here. Like, what?
I know.
We don't, the relationships that it takes, the levels that it takes to get Bravos even on their radar.
Mm-hmm.
I was sent a PR package from Below Deck and I thought that I made it. But these people like Ryan Bailey, he said that he can monetize on this full time now, but he's been doing it for 6 years. He has, I'm pretty sure, a radio show. There's people that can monetize off of it, but it's not me.
And it sure isn't me. If it were not for my husband, I'd be living in a van down by the river. So, but I think so. In all sincerity, though, I think that what frustrates me the most is that people who have positions of power know what they can say to disempower the people that they're talking about, which is you. And they know what this Bravo fandom is like, which, to be honest, the Bravo fandom has turned into something so ugly.
Mhm.
I'd love for you to share, if you can, like how this has been impacting your mental health, because I want people listening to this to really understand what you have been experiencing.
So I'm going to get super real. The night of the episode, my family threw me like a premiere party. We had cookies, we had cocktails. It was so nice because they were excited that my content was going to be shown on national television. And like, we celebrate each other. We love each other. We're very close people. That's what we do. So it was great that night. I felt good going to bed. I woke up the next day. I felt good listening to the podcasts from, the previous people that we have mentioned. But then slowly hate started trickling in. And it was, a handful of comments here, a handful of comments there. And I mean, I can take some shit. I am a mother. I have 3 kids. I am a wife. And I am lucky to be able to do this content creation as a stay-at-home mom. I am so fortunate to be doing that. And I've had to, at times, put my phone away and just get straight into mom mode because I can't let somebody telling me to unalive myself affect how I am as a real ass person, as a wife and a mother. So it's been kind of like a mental back and forth. I'll have pockets of quiet where I'll say to myself, don't look at your phone, but then I will, that balancing act the past 48 hours has been a lot. And I'm glad that I can be comfortable enough to say that on here because it's not something I post about. That's,
Right.
But this is me saying to, people listening, like, I'm a real ass person. And it's been emotional. But at the same time, like, bad bitch faces up. I gotta, work and live my life. It's times and outlets like Here and Now where I can be vulnerable and be emotional and talk about it. And I'm grateful for that. But you got to put on your game face.
And I just, one thing I want to say is that I really admire you because I don't know that I could put on a game face like you are. I mean, and listen, I think there's a certain amount of your strength and your courage and all that. That's amazing. But I mean, as a human being, I know, there's been a lot of really tough moments in the last 48 hours. And so I'm so grateful that you feel comfortable to be vulnerable because I want people to see you like like Christina, the person, the mom, the wife, like the human being who's just trying to live and do your job and, support your family and also do something that you once loved. And in 48 hours, that carpet has been pulled from underneath you. And I imagine it's just like an emotional free fall.
It is. And it's to where, like I said earlier, it was almost hard to say out loud. Like, imagine when I had to, look at my husband and say, this is what somebody just told me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something I wanted to ever have to say out loud because it's disgusting. And it makes it, and I know that it's not a me thing and I didn't do anything wrong, but it's almost like saying it out loud in the back of your head is like what did I do kind of thing. I don't know how to explain that.
Well, here, I'll step in. It's really common in therapy when people are talking about really challenging things. It's hard when you say it out loud, like when people have been through trauma and abuse and things like that. When you say it out loud, it makes it real. And there's a certain amount of what's called cognitive dissonance that we can have where we'll like compartmentalize. And not to therapize you, I think you're compartmentalizing a little bit because you have to. I wouldn't be surprised if weeks after this, you were kind of hit with some other waves of things, which is, I'm not your therapist, but I'm your friend and I'm happy to be here for you.
Right.
But I think to your point is that when you're saying these things out loud, it breaks through that kind of dissonance to be like, oh, wow, people are really wanting me to end my life. People are really wanting my children to be motherless because of Katie Janela? Like it's just so, I just want people to understand how egregious the situation is, how unfair. You don't deserve it. And what you do deserve is all the support and love in the world. And, there's always going to be people who are going to try to do something to get themselves closer proximity to a celebrity, and they're happy to walk over your back to do that, and they have to live with themselves, right? So at the end of the day, what I like to say is that when we all go to sleep and close our eyes at the end of the day, all we're left with is who we are. How did we live that day? How did we behave? What are our actions? And you're good, my friend. Not so much Katie. She's got to live with that. How's your husband felt about this? Not that you need to share too much about him, but because I just can't emphasize enough how much this is impacting your whole family unit. Like, how has this impacted him?
I mean, I have a whole community. Like I said, I had a watch party with friends and family. They're all very aware of the lie that Katie told, and they've checked up on me just mental health wise. Hey girl, how you doing? Because they've seen, my mother-in-law told me stay off Twitter, and I'm just like, oh gosh. So she's seen things, it's not like it's people that it's not just people I don't know. It's people I love and care about that are seeing these things. And,
right.
My husband supports me 1,000,000% in this Bravo Babe endeavor. But the minute that I showed him one of the comments, in his head, it's game over, delete your account. This isn't worth it. Go to the first thing he said was go to the police. Like, you don't mess around with, that's his wife. You don't talk about her life in that way. So it's been, and it's been, everybody sees, and so it affects them because nobody wants to read those comments about somebody they love, and unfortunately, they have.
Right, and I have to relate to that for a minute. Is that when I get a lot of hate, my husband, he'll say the same thing. He'll be like, Melissa, you don't need to do this. Just preserve your peace, delete your accounts, and it's like, but I don't want these people to take my shit away from me, right?
Right.
You don't want these people to take your stuff away from you because that's giving them power that belongs to you. This is a huge but then you are left to deal with the fallout of this. So it's just, I want to be clear, there's no good situation for you right now in this point. And I just give you a lot of credit, as your friend for you've been managing this, I swear to you, better than I would. You are astounding me in terms of your strength and your resilience. And so I just want to make sure you know that you're loved, you're believed, you're supported by the people who matter. And the people who want to shit on you, they don't matter none, honey.
I appreciate that more than you know. And I mean, I said it a little earlier, coming on this podcast specifically with you, I mean, your content resonates with me in the way that you break down not just the episodes, but the dynamics and why the scenes play out the way they do. It's almost like it's almost like in some times when I read your posts, I'm like, it's almost like she's there dissecting what's going on that we can't see. Right. If Sheena's in the corner, it's almost like you'll say she's in this corner because she probably feels or knows. It's like, your takes on things are so fascinating to me, and your heart is just very pure, and everything that you've said has made me feel very comfortable and very supported. So on a friend level, truly, thank you.
Yeah, no. And again, that's why I wanted people to hear this conversation too, because there are so many content creators who have chosen to not support you.
Yeah.
Again, I think when things like this happen, it does show us who our true people are.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited
you know, and you and I had joked about like, and this is why I talk to like 2 content creators because
Yes.
most of it is just like toxic, dysfunctional, mean nonsense.
And I mean, like I said, I listened to podcasts, like, baby, I listened to them all. So, like, if you didn't think I listened, and, you know, I did. I know what you said. I know that you support me in my DMs, but then you go on a podcast episode and say it was crappy of me to put out receipts. Well, I mean, then you're not my kind of people.
Right, because here's my question to people. If this was happening to you, what would you do?
Right.
Would you just let the person walk all over you? Would you just let them lie? Would you just not stand up for yourself in any way, shape, or form? So people can maybe disagree with it, but at the end of the day, no one would like the situation or you know, manage it well. And so I think it's just easy to point fingers. But so what are some things that you really haven't said that you would like people to know on your part? You know, anything else that you haven't gotten to say or we haven't talked about? What are some other things that you want people to know?
I feel like 3 things that I kind of just want to reiterate are the phone call was made by Katie to me, that Katie did know my first name as shown in a message that she had with another account.
Yes.
And that I'm a human. I'm a human being. I am not a account with Jax Taylor as a profile picture who posts memes, and good for those accounts. I follow them and love them, but that's not me. That's not who I am. And that's not who Katie Janela went on television and lied about. And I just want to, you know, it's so personal to me to see that on television and now to be getting the threats that I've been getting. I mean, don't you think that this could be so easily cleared up if Katie just went on her? I mean, we've seen it done with other housewives and other shows before where they'll post something and say, nothing is worth giving somebody the threats that you are giving. Be kind to one another. Don't you think that she should, at minimum, she won't. I know she won't. But like at minimum, not that it would sway my thoughts or opinions of her anymore, but selfishly, it would help me. You know?
Of course it would help her. It would help you for her to be honest and tell the truth. Now, from what I understand, this is going to continue to be a storyline, which also let me point out one really shitty thing about this too, is that you are a main storyline of the Real Housewives of Orange County. Are you getting a paycheck, Christina?
You know what? I asked.
Mm-hmm.
I asked because I know my worth.
Yes.
And I will just say that Bravo doesn't really value the content that people bring to the show enough to compensate them fairly. And I can say that from an open perspective because as somebody who has content featured on Hulu coming up, and I once again know my worth, I will just say Bravo doesn't take what we do seriously enough to compensate like other networks do.
Essentially, that is just, you're just being used all over the place.
And I mean, I know what I signed. You know, I'm not trying to say that I fell into a trap or anything. I did read what I signed. It's, you know, what they asked for is in perpetuity. So that clip of me on the podcast could be played at the reunion. But it's not like I'm getting a payday for all of that. You know, I'm not. It could be shown like next week in a preview on Bravo TV. There is a preview of Tamara once again talking about me. I don't get paid for that shit.
Right. And so again, that power differential of your content is getting utilized. Again, you signed off on it, right? That you acknowledge and understand that. I actually am happy to hear that you advocated for yourself, because if you're going to be a storyline, my first thought was, I hope she's getting paid, honey.
Right.
Because, you know, those clickbaits, we don't post that, you know, even though Katie alleges that. That's Kim Zolciak. That's not us.
Yeah, that's not us.
We don't do that. And so, I was like, so think about for a second, you're like the center of this and people are talking about you and they're playing things of you and you're not getting anything but hate and threats and really gross comments. So
Yes.
let that sink in for a minute to everybody listening to this. Let that sink in how that might feel, right?
Right. It's not as it seems. They could think, it's like Katie said, clickbait payday. Oh, she's a storyline, clickbait payday. No. And like I said, that's not why I initially made the page. I'm lucky enough to be a
Right.
stay-at-home mom and do this, as something that I still do love it. But right now it's hard to want to love it. It's hard to want to post anything. We had the Brock and Sheena stuff. To me,
Yeah.
that's my brand. Vanderpump Rules, like, that's my shit. But I
Right.
didn't post about it. And that was telling.
Of course, because even, you and I talked about this, even when I posted about this, because I knew, from talking to you, I knew the true story and I was advocating for you and supporting you. And people in my comments were awful trolls. And I was just like, what?
Like, it
What
might
is-
be one thing if you don't like my content. It's not for everybody. Don't follow me.
Fine.
But don't come at me as a person because you don't like my content. Like, I'm a millennial from the Midwest and I'm hilarious. Like, you either love me or you hate me.
And that's why I love you, honey. Midwest girls forever. Downers grow for life, girl.
The way that's
Oh
so
my
close
God.
to me. I love that.
I know. And next time, so I visit Chicago basically once a year. And I always wanted to do a listener meetup because I have so many folks in the Chicagoland area who
There's
listen.
some
But I was
good
like,
ones.
for sure. And I was like, next time I go to the Chi, you and I are going to have to, we're going to have to do something, you
We'll
and
do
me.
something fun. There's a super cute spot called Paradise Park that had me at their Bravo event not too long ago. I'll take you to Paradise
Nice.
Park next time you're in Chicago.
I would love it. And also, by the way, that tea that you dropped about you're going to be featured on a Hulu thing, that is some hot tea for those of you who didn't catch that.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
That is amazing. That is
Thank you.
amazing. I am
Thank you.
so proud of you. It's like, it's so weird to say I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. But it's like, that's kind of sometimes what being in this space is. It's like when you get a lot of eyes on you, there's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. And sometimes that's part of the deal. But like I said, I just admire how you're handling everything. Was there anything else that we didn't get to mention, talk about, that you wanted to say?
As far as storyline goes, I hope it's, crystal clear how I laid it out, how I got to this situation. Like I said, Tamara and I, zero communication since November, never sent a cease and desist, never sent an email. We just no longer communicated, which is, I think there was a couple podcasts out there that said I never got a cease and desist. So made that part clear.
Yeah.
But, if you're out there and you're listening, just be a good person today. Maybe just today, be just like a little bit of an extra good person because the world we know is an insane place. But just like, I don't know, smile at somebody today. Maybe just like wave at somebody today and like just do it out of the goodness of your heart because I feel like I just need that in the world right now, even if it's a small gesture. Just you're at the grocery store, just nod at somebody, just do something nice.
And just like lock it up and stop thinking. People need to stop being such egomaniacs that they think that they have the right to threaten anybody. Like, who are you that you think that you can say these things to people, right? There is a level of ego in that, of narcissism in that is pretty gross. So again, I will just outline that if you're somebody or if people are listening to this that are threatening people online, I really think self-focus would be great because I think with some of these people, it's not even about you, as crazy as that sounds. It's about like them projecting their stuff onto you. But what I would encourage people to do is for a second, put yourself in your shoes, put yourself in this situation and think, how would you want people to treat you? right?
Right.
How would
Exactly.
you want people? I think that the oldest adage is like treat other people how you want to be treated.
Mhm.
And just because the internet can be anonymous doesn't give people the right to be miserable, threatening trolls. It just doesn't.
It doesn't. And it's
So,
such a large conversation. I'm glad that we got to just even tap into it because the internet can be relentless, but I feel like it went as far as it could go with what I've been receiving. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Unless it is as far as you can go on the internet, as far as like what you can say to somebody or how evil you can be to somebody, I've peaked. They've done it.
right, right. And so I just encourage you to, your community, the people who love and support you, stay close to them, stay close to the people who love and support you. For me, when this stuff happens, it's always like, this is why I took a break from, and I'll say this is why I took a break last season because I just, you know, I'm a sensitive soul, right? And when you have this level of animosity for what seems like no reason, right? Like if we were doing things, I could understand, what people are upset about. But, for me, I'm just like, you just like hate that I'm breathing and that I exist. I can't help you with that. And
Right.
I just needed a break because I was like, I can't be my best self and I can't podcast without overthinking everything if I'm always worried about, right? What are people saying? What are people doing? All this stuff. So it's like, I just
You
really
almost have to like
appreciate.
retrain your mind in that way with your break to say what it needs to say and what your thought
Mhm.
line needs to be. It's literally almost like your brain's algorithm needs to be in check, you know?
Literally, you're not joking. I reset my algorithm and then I'm coming back. And, here's the thing. And this is how I know I've reset my algorithm, right? Because when we had talked about you coming on, I was like, we're definitely going to get hate for this for no good reason, right? I mean,
Right.
everything we've talked about is appropriate. It's, lovely. It's all these things. But you know how I know I've reset? I'm like, I don't give a shit because we are following our morals and values. We are on the right side of history. I am supporting you. You are supporting yourself. There is no part of this interview that makes me feel scared, nervous, unhappy whatsoever. So anyone who doesn't like it, that's right. But I just want to, again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your strength and your vulnerability because I definitely know that some people listening to this will have a different point of view, from you vulnerably sharing what's been happening and how this
Mhm.
is happening for you. So just want you to know that you're loved, you're supported, you are welcome back here anytime. And as this storyline keeps going on, we'll continue to touch base about it because as often as they talk about this on OC is as often as I think you should be able to have your say in this, right? If you're a
Right.
storyline, shouldn't you have a voice on it?
Shouldn't I have a
So,
say? Right.
yeah.
You're
So,
right.
well, in YBT world, you certainly have a say, and we'd love for you to come back whenever you feel that you want to say what you need to say.
Thank you. And when I do need a safe space to go, like you are my person. So thank you again for that.
Of course, of course. Now, is there anything that you want to plug today, or I'm thinking
All my
probably
brand
not.
deals. Click my link. I get 10%. Click my link. No, I truly I still have my, my Instagram account at the Bravo Babe, my TikTok account at the Bravo Babe. Like I said, my YouTube is small, but at
Yeah,
the
mine
Bravo
too.
Babe. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's there. So if that's, your way of listening or watching things, follow me there. Like I said, I disabled my ex account for now. And if you are listening and you were one of my followers, because I truly did have hundreds of people that I connected with and adored on there,
Mm-hmm.
find me on a different platform. And I did
Yeah.
see and appreciate the positive things that you were, trying to counteract with all of the negative.
Yeah, I got you, girl. But that's a good point too. So to let people listening to this know, if they followed you on X for now, just go to one of those other social media platforms.
Yeah, and
Um,
shoot me a DM because like I said, I've had a great relationship with people on there for so long,
yeah,
more so ever than with the other site. So I did appreciate a lot of those people. So just find me on another avenue And,
Right.
if you wanted to talk, I'm still here.
And like we talked about, this, someone will do something on the Housewives, something will happen, and then this will be old news. But for you, it'll never be old news, right? For the news, it'll be old news. But for you, this is something that's going to live forever. So I just want people to recognize that. So thank you to everyone listening to this. What a season 5 premiere episode this has been. You can all follow me and hopefully don't give me hate either, my friends. Everywhere at Your Bish Therapist. Just please, what I'm asking for people is to listen with an open mind. And you're welcome to not believe things or, whatever. But just all I'm asking is to not be disrespectful. All those comments will be deleted. Everyone has the right to differing opinions, but a differing opinion isn't threatening someone. It isn't tearing someone down. It isn't disrespect. And so I want to be really clear with people if you're blocked, because that'll happen, right? I'll block people and they'll be mad.
100%.
Like, why did you block me? And it's like, well, because you weaponized my license and you disrespected me. Those are deal breakers for me.
Right.
Just like we have boundaries in life. Well, we have boundaries with this life too.
On our page.
That's right. Our boundaries are that you're welcome to disagree. You're welcome to have different thoughts. But the second you come in, you're going to be blocked, your comment's going to be removed.
Absolutely.
But I know my community and listeners are just empathetic, wonderful, beautiful human beings. So I know the one thing I want to kind of end this with is helping you know that there will be some people who like me and follow me, and they're gonna support you and love you and DM you and all of those things. So to those people who are, the light in the world that we want to see, we thank you for listening. We thank you for your support. Again, you can find this at Your Bish Therapist on Patreon. You can find this everywhere podcasts are available, and it will also be on my YouTube. Full video will be on YouTube, and full video will be on my Patreon. So for today, babe, thank you for participating. And for everybody else, I have some great episodes coming up. Speaking of Ryan Bailey, he will be on the pod in a couple of weeks. And I also have Amy Phillips and Mandy Slutzker and Recap Rodeo, Lindsay and Brady. So this season is going to be lit.
That's a good group of people.
It's a great group. So please stay tuned for more episodes of Your Bish Therapist podcast, and sending love to you and yours, and ta-ta for now. Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.